1,000 words. Next stage in writing an article. I've done the article, done the title, done the cartoon and things, right? I have forced myself over the years because I've made mistakes in the past. When I have written an article, annoyance or anger, or a very sensitive issue economically, politically, socially, I'll wait for a couple of days. Because quite often you write an article, you can reread it 3, 4, 5 times the same day and you will not pick up things actually which you should pick up because you're so close to the ideas, you're so close to the text, you're so close to the sense of what you want to write that you cannot move away far enough from it and see what you have actually written and what other people may in fact interpret when they read it. Very, very important, because believe you me, what you see on the text over there is not what other people necessarily see when they read it. And it's important to move away from it. Wait for 2 days, cool down, calm down, and then go in. And quite often I find I don't read, I try not to read on the screen. It's far more easy to pick up all kinds of things when I'm reading, hard copy. Screens sometimes, I don't know why it is about screens, actually, they just don't show you the glaring things, in the way they should be. Right? Why do I wait for 2 days? To see first if there's any mistakes I've made. Secondly, I try to eliminate all references to persons and individuals and focus on issues. Quite often, you have very important to do that, even if a person may have given you an idea for an article. It's like, for example, in the 90s, the Secretary of Finance, who is now the Governor of the Reserve Bank, he used to be the chairman of the board of the FNPF. FNPF is the organization that's lending, more than $1 billion to government, and the Secretary of Finance, who is responsible for borrowing money, sits as the chairman of the company that's lending the money. Right? You never have a situation where if you're borrowing money from Westpac, then you go and sit on the board of Westpac as the borrower. Right? You'll not be allowed to do this. There's a conflict of interest in there. And I wrote an article about the fact that the Governor of the Reserve Bank was wearing all these hats. At that time, he was also the chairman of Intel, which is a private company which has been exploiting the country, through high telecommunications charges. And I noticed the other day that the same person is still the chairman of Intel. Governor of the Reserve Bank, of course, should never be a chairman of any private commercial company. Right? Now, the thing is that the issue is the important thing. The issue is one of conflict of interest between a public office and a private role as a chairman of a private company. Right? So I have to make sure when I write that article, you don't focus on the individual, the person who is the Governor of the Reserve Bank. You've got to focus on the issue. And you've got to write the article in such a way that you don't attack the person. Right? It's like the whole idea is that that person may be doing something evil, but you attack the evil that the person does, not the person who does the evil. You're opposed to the evil action, not opposed to the person who is actually a human being. And it's important that when you write articles, that you do not personalize the issues, because when you do, it generates all kinds of wrong energies. I hate to use the word wrong karma, but it does, and things in fact twist out of hand, go out of hand, and have all kinds of side effects which you don't really want. I make sure that when you write an article, you don't have something in there which may be misinterpreted by interest groups. For example, you notice there's a protest, against what's going on in grammar school, and somebody said, oh, it's all Fijian. So then some Fijian person writes and says, are you trying to say that the standards are down because there are too many Fijians there? Right? Now that wasn't the issue at all. If you write an article, as I have done, for example, about problems about Fijian education, it's not about ethnicity per se. It's about the schools in which they are. It's about the management style of those schools. It's about a whole other series of issues such as, the objectives of the schools, etc., as opposed to academic objectives. So you've got to be careful when you write an article, and especially in places like Fiji and all that, where, people may easily take offense at something, at some line that you have got there. Be careful how you write it so that people don't take offense unnecessarily. Right? Leave out something which is unimportant or peripheral. If it doesn't contribute to your article, leave it out. Because anything unimportant and peripheral can sometimes be blown up out of all proportion.